So I've said this a dozen times. An open relationship may sound good on paper, but most of the time it comes with a cost.
Hi everyone, I have very special news for you. Well, let me announce you that I am pregnant.
You are not the father.
Awesome! So, we need to talk about Jasmine's pregnancy, because the whole situation with it is getting more and more strange. If you don't know, a few weeks ago, Shabooty.com posted some breaking news. Jasmine was pregnant, and the baby was not Gino's. Or so he said. And supposedly, this was all going to be revealed at the tell-all. But most people that saw this, including me, were skeptical. I mean, there were so many reasons why this would not make sense. Jasmine had gone through so many cosmetic procedures, things like breast implants, lipo, and botched butt implants. She even bragged at one point about the butt implants costing $10,000. So for me, it was hard to believe that she was just going to swap filler and plastic for diapers and maternity pants. And there were many other factors that made me doubt this. Jasmine has 2 sons in Panama that were not yet in the US with her, at least that we know of. And she was at a marriage retreat with Gino to try to save their marriage. She was calling this guy named Matt on the last resort, but I don't know, I just had a hard time believing it. And what made it even more confusing was that Jasmine herself leaned into the pregnancy speculation. She even trolled her Instagram followers with the announcement of an alligator baby.
Look at what I got in this. My new baby.
So the real answer to if Jasmine was really pregnant or not was unclear. The only proof was this post from Shabooty.com. But everyone watching the show did start to point out that Jasmine looked a little different on Between the Sheets interviews. These Between the Sheets episodes are recorded after The Last Resort. I don't think she was pregnant during The Last Resort filming. I only noticed her looking different in the Between the Sheets interviews. But that was it, her looking a little different. And I didn't feel like that was really enough proof. There was no concrete evidence of a pregnancy until now.
Hi everyone, I have very special news for you. Well, let me announce you that I am pregnant. I am so happy and excited, and I cannot wait to meet my beautiful baby.
Jasmine released this video on Instagram with 90 Day Fiancé confirming her pregnancy. But even watching this, I'm still in disbelief. I was so shocked by this. And I kept thinking, why are they announcing this now? Weird timing. They have not aired out the tell-all on The Last Resort yet. So thought that was kind of weird. And she did not just hard launch her pregnancy. She also kind of hard launched that Matt was the baby's dad. In this video of a maternity shoot, there's Matt, the guy she was calling at The Last Resort. And Florian, from The Last Resort, savagely tagged Gino on the video, congratulating him with cry laughing emojis. And if you're like, wait a second, why would Florian tag Gino on this post when it looks like Gino's not the father? Unless there was some weird switcheroony thing going on with Gino and Matt, I'm pretty sure that Gino is not involved in this pregnancy. Jasmine does not outright say Matt is the dad in this video. And if you think about it, if this whole open marriage thing really worked out, wouldn't Gino just be right behind Jasmine in these maternity photos? Like holding the other side of her bump with Matt on the shoot? He is not though. If he was in this maternity shoot, I feel like he would be high-fiving Matt. I mean, he did outsource sleeping with Jasmine. Now he could watch his porn in peace. But no, there is no trace of Gino or his hat in this maternity shoot. So Florian's comment seems to be more of an I told you so, trolling Gino. Because on a recently aired episode of The Last Resort, Jasmine and Gino were, as usual, not doing well as a couple. It was the same old intimacy issues we've seen a million times between them, but according to Gino, their relationship issues had gotten a lot worse after Gino's bachelor party. This is when he claimed to not touch any of the strippers, and he did. It was all on camera.
We stopped sleeping in the same bed together. After that happened, our bond, went to pretty much zero.
But even though he seemed to apologize for this in this scene, Jasmine doesn't feel any better about the situation. And she says that this conversation doesn't fix any of their actual intimacy problems. If anything, it just seems to get worse. Gino pretty much wants no physical touching until their fighting stops.
You know, I love my feet massaged, my back.
So I cannot like rub your back without asking.
Depends, like how you're doing it, I guess.
And like, okay, he wants the fighting to get better, but his expectations for this didn't seem very realistic. He wanted weeks and maybe months of zero arguing. Like, none. No disagreements. And even with that unrealistic rule, there wasn't a clear timeline of what that would mean for the intimacy part of this. But Jasmine and everyone watching, including me, was under the impression that this was like a give and take. If they stopped fighting as much, and that got better, they would be more intimate, and that would get better. That had to be a part of the solution, or there would be no way that this marriage was going to continue. How would they recommit at the end of the season if there wasn't some sort of plan for this? A timeline? Because there also was this other big factor in this whole Gino and Jasmine situation. And this factor didn't make it seem like Jasmine was going to wait forever for Gino. Or maybe not even wait for Gino at all.
I met him at the gym, and we started working out together, and after spending some time, we became friends.
Friend, in air quotes. And this so-called friend of Jasmine's was a very conveniently timed relationship to have. Jasmine, in a group activity earlier in the Last Resort season, announced that she wanted an open marriage with Gino. Basically, it would solve their intimacy issues. He didn't have to sleep with her, she could sleep with somebody else, and they could stay married. But the strange part about that is that she seemed to already have a guy lined up and waiting. And the opinions on this have been very divided. The main question was Jasmine with this guy before the Last Resort? Was Jasmine cheating on Gino with this guy? Was she really just friends with Matt and then this just blossomed into something else? The problem is that we can speculate all day, but we have no idea. Because you also have to consider the fact that maybe Gino and Jasmine weren't even together when they got to the Last Resort. Maybe she was dating Matt because her and Gino were already done. And they either came here for the paycheck or they came here to try to maybe give their relationship another chance. We can't really say that Jasmine was cheating, but we can say that it is really freaking weird that she has Matt on speed dial at a marriage retreat. There we go. So there is this scene when Gino talks to Florian over drinks. And at this point, we know for sure that Gino is completely closed off physically with Jasmine. I don't see Gino as innocent in any of these situations. I really see both sides of Gino and Jasmine's issues, except the whole situation with Jasmine's kids, but we'll get to that. Florian also doesn't seem to see Gino as innocent in this situation either.
We have to have multiple days in a row where we are not fighting, at least, you know, a couple weeks. Then couple weeks.
We basically find out, and Florian does too with this face, that Gino is playing the long game here. He's not budging on anything physical until the fighting completely stops. And I just don't think that's realistic. Like, you're not going to just agree on every single thing all of the time for a week or a month, I don't think. I just don't understand his expectation of that. Because if that's what he wants, then why did he pick Jasmine as a partner? She's been yelling since the day he met her.
You think you so special?
So that Instagram comment where Florian tags Gino in Jasmine's pregnancy announcement is really a full circle moment. It's looking like Jasmine went somewhere else to find intimacy. So I don't feel bad for Gino, right? But I also don't really feel bad for Jasmine either. On that same episode of The Last Resort where we saw Gino and Florian talking, there is also a scene with Jasmine where she pretty much exposes the fact that she had Matt on the side this whole time.
You're the person that I have considered for a potential open marriage with Gino.
This open marriage thing didn't seem like a new idea to this guy. Julia does say right before this that Brandon had said that Gino told him he doesn't plan to sleep with Jasmine again at all, even if they stopped fighting. But like, okay, let's say that really happened. Then how about they end the marriage? There you go.
Natalie wants to remind you to subscribe to the Kiblz channel. If you don't, you will have to take her to Vegas.
Invite me to Vegas right now!
If something was ever to happen, that would be cool with me, but You know, when people get married, there's going to be ups and downs. So I want to see her happy, you know?
It's just so odd to me that she goes and calls this Matt guy, and they just keep dragging out this decision for an open marriage, even though I'm pretty sure Jasmine already decided she's doing it.
This is a conversation that you and Gino need to have before you guys decide to recommit.
I get that this is the last resort for their marriage, but this is the last thing I want to hear about anymore. This whole situation makes me believe that Jasmine and Gino really weren't together when they arrived. Like this was their last attempt to maybe try to get back together.
Basically 2 weeks before coming to the couples retreat, I started exploring the idea of an open marriage. Matt would be the perfect candidate to be the third person.
So 2 weeks before a marriage retreat, she was already planning the open marriage with Matt. Yeah, okay. The cast even says that it seems like Jasmine was in love with this guy already.
What does he gain from that? I guess if he wants to have sex with Jasmine that bad, or maybe he also loves Jasmine. Maybe they're in love.
Overall, in the case of Jasmine and Gino and their marriage, the only people I feel bad for in this situation are Jasmine's kids. Jasmine came to the US and talked for multiple seasons about bringing her kids over, but it didn't happen. She blamed Gino for not filling out paperwork properly, but it also seemed like she hadn't visited them either. I don't think it's Gino's fault 100% that they didn't get here. I think that Jasmine should have double checked that they got here. It didn't seem like she tried that hard to get her kids to the US, and I haven't seen her go back to see them. I even remember her at one point complaining about the cost of bringing them over to the US. Hello? She sure seemed to have enough money to spend on her body. There was this live where she explains that she does have full custody of her kids in Panama because I guess their dad is a deadbeat, but she says that her green card process will take longer to get her children to the US because she is not American.
With that being said, if my children had been included in my petition, it would be easier. But they were not included, which means that the process had to be started by scratch. Zero, 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 zero. Which means like that's gonna take longer.
She blamed Gino for not getting her kids added to the visa process initially, but I've noticed that not a lot of people believe her, especially if you read the comments. It's like things that she's saying don't seem to really be lining up. And I'm over here wondering if she's with Matt, pregnant, right? To me, that means that she gave up on her relationship with Gino. So to me, no matter what's going on with that process of getting her kids to the US, if her relationship with Gino was really over, why move on with this Matt guy? Why not go back home to her kids? See what I'm saying? That makes no sense to me. That makes me believe that she really didn't try that hard to get them here or go back and see them. From what I understand, she could have gone back and seen them already. She does say in that live, if things don't work out, that she will move back to Panama. But would she though? She now has this life in the US with Matt and her new baby. She could have gone back before Matt and the baby. And that just sucks for her kids. I don't get that. Why not go back and not leave them behind? Now she's just showing her bump and I don't know. I would be sad if I was her kid and I saw that. I also don't like that she's linking her baby registry. She's pretty much saying, hey, buy my baby stuff. It comes off very grifty when you ask people to buy your baby stuff. Let me know what you think about this. Are you team Gino or team Jasmine? Before you decide, apparently Gino's uncle is not team Jasmine. He went on this long rant about her, saying that Gino was pretty much a victim, asking her why she didn't go back to Panama to see her kids. That's a good question. But then he also says, why didn't you have a child with Gino? I mean, we all know why that didn't happen, don't we? So he is basically angry and calls her out, and he wants to do it on TV. They should televise that. I would watch that. Honestly, if I were to pick a team I'm on at this point, I'm just team Jasmine's kids. I hope they aren't just seeing their mom starting a new life without them. I'm also hoping that maybe we're just missing some information about that situation, and maybe they're on their way. Maybe they're coming to the US. Make sure to follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. And also, this is my QR code to my Snapchat. Make sure to follow my public profile. I will be posting often on there. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye!